So this is the video on something on this, which is the distributive property, but with fractions. Okay, so you will definitely encounter situations like this, and nothing. Let's get to the video. I find my pen. Here we go. So two ways. There's a lot of ways you can do this. So one way is to, if possible. How do I start this? Okay, so I'm doing 2/3 times this. I'm doing 2/3 times that, and I'm also doing 2/3 times this. Okay, so if I take this, and let's do the first part. So I'm going to do that too on the sides. 2/3 times 18k. Now put the 18k over 1. So I can simplify before I multiply. I can go like this. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I'm left with 2 times 6 over 1, right? So 2 times 6 is 12. And I'll put a k there. Let me just not write. Put the 6 on top here, right? So 2 times 6 is k. 2 times 6 is 12. Minus, and then again, let me change colors here. I'm going to do the second part. It's going to be 2/3 times 21. So I can simplify again before multiply. Let me put this over 1. It's going to be 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And then I can now multiply. 2 times 7 is 14. I get 14p. Change colors again. And for the last one, it's 2/3 times. We're going 2/3 all the way to the corner. 2/3 times 9. So think about this. You can think about this in two ways. You can divide by 9. Divide by 3 and then multiply by 2. That's fine too. Or multiply by 2 and then divide it by 3. It's, however you want to think, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. So it's I get 2 times 9, which is 18. If I just multiply across, I would get 2 times 9, which is 18. 3 times 1 is over 3. Times 1 is 3. And 18 over 3 is 6. So the last part would be plus 6. So again, you can multiply by 2 and divide by 3. You can divide by 3 and then multiply by 2. The choice is absolutely yours. Okay. This one is easy, easier. So for everything, if you find when you apply distributive property here, right, 1/5. So if you take 1/5 and you're going to be multiplying by that by 10, it's literally you're taking 10. If you think about it, the long way. 1 times 10 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. So you're literally dividing 10 divided by 5. So 1/5 times negative 10n would just be 2, right? So, and in this case, you can multiply by 10 and then divide by 5, or you can divide by 5, 10 divided by 5, and then multiply by 1. It's really up to you. So in this case, it's positive times a negative, which is a negative, and we just showed that it's -2. 1/5 and negative 1/5, and I know it's going to be negative. So it's a positive times a negative, which is negative. So it's 1/5, and just let me write 25, right? So choice, multiply 1 times 25, which is 25. 5 times 1 is 5. So you're multiplying by 1 times 25 and then divide it by 5, which is 5. Or you can just divide by 5 right away, right? And you can see that that gives you 1. So 1/5 of negative 25w is 5w. Positive times a positive is going to be plus, and then the last one is 1/5 times 50, and you can tell that that's going to be 50 divided by 5, right? So if I were to do this across, it's 50 divided by 5, which is going to be, just get me 10. Okay? So it really depends on your comfort level. Okay? So again, this is a negative times a positive, so I know it's negative. And I'll do this on the side. 1/4 times 24. 1 times 24 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4, right? And 24 divided by 4 is just 6. So this first one gives me 6k. Negative times a negative, it's going to be positive. So again, if you want to pull it to the side, it's 1/4 times 40th, right? So 1 times 40 is 40. 4 times 1 is 4. And 40 over 4 is 10. So you get 10 m. Next one's a negative times a negative, which is again a positive, and you get 1/4 times 12. So hopefully you're catching. And in this case, it's just 12 divided by 4, right? Which is 3. And then minus 20k, and that one, nothing happens to it because it's outside parentheses. You're going to combine what you can. In this case, you can combine this with this. So let's write our like terms next to each other. Then plus 10m plus 3. Notice that these two terms, nothing's going to happen to them, so I'm just going to write them again. Right, then let's figure out what this part equals. So it's negative 6k minus 20k, so it's going to be something k, right? And if I pull that, all the integers out, negative 6 minus 20, I get negative 6 plus negative 20, which is going to give me negative 26k. All right. Okay, so in this case here, well, let's take care of our signs. A negative times a negative is going to be positive, so I'm not even going to write. Then it's 2 7s times 14, so if it's 2 over 7 times 14. So how do you want to think about this? It's up to you. So you can go 2 times 7 first and then divide it by 7. Or you can go 4, or you can divide, you can simplify this like this, right? Or divide by 7 and then multiply by 2. So choices are yours. In this case, let me just do it again. So let me pull this guy here. So we know it's going to be positive, and 2 over 7 times 14 over 1. So you can multiply 2 times 14, which is give you 28, and then divide it by 7. 28, right? And here's 7, so 28, and then divide by 7, which gives you 4. So you could have done it that way. If you don't like that way, so think about, you can simplify before you multiply, right? 7 divided by 7 is 1, 14 divided by 7 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4, so again you get the same thing, right? So however you want to do this is fine, so whichever way you're more comfortable. Negative times a negative, again, is going to give me positive. 2 over 7 times 21. So you got 2 over 7 times 21. So again, you can simplify the 7 and 21. That becomes 3, right? And 2 times 3 is 6, so you can get 6m. That's it for my distributive property. And then you write plus 18 minus k. If there's anything you can combine, you should combine. So it's the 4 and the plus 18. Those are the only terms that are going to combine. So I'll write them next to each other. Place 6m minus k. 4 plus 18 is 22. Plus 6m minus k. Shoot, there's a lot. Whoa, there's a lot. All right, so let's move on. This one is easy, right? It's 1/6 times 18, or just 18 divided by 6 is going to give us 3w. Positive times a positive gives us a positive. Positive times a negative is going to give us a negative, and it's going to be 1/6 times 30, or 30 divided by 6 is going to give us 5m minus 12w. I can combine this guy here with this guy here. 3w minus 12w minus 5m. 3w minus 12w, think of it as 3 minus 12, or 3 plus negative 12. I can make some 0 pairs, some 3 pairs of 0 pairs, and that's going to be, I'm going to be left with a bunch of negatives. And how many negatives? Negative 9. So this is going to result in negative 9w, and then minus 5m. 3/8 over 16. So this one's a little bit different, right? So you got 3/8 times 16. So you can multiply 3 times 6 and then divide it by 8. Or you can cross out this 8 and the 16. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 16 divided by 8 is 2. And you have 3 times 2. So this first thing, however you do it, becomes 6h. Minus 3/8 times 8, and I think this one actually, you might just cross out the 8s, right? They become 1 and 1, so 3 times 1 gives you 3m plus 20k. Can I combine anything? No, I can't, because they all have different variables. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative. I get 1/9 times 18. 18 divided by 9 is 2w. Negative times a negative is a positive, and I get 1/9 times 9. Cross, cross, and that whole thing is just going to become 1m, or just m. Negative times a negative is a positive again, and this time I get 1/9 times 27, and that's the same thing as 27 divided by 9, or just 3. And again, I can't combine in like terms, so I am done. This one, positive times a negative is a negative, so I get 4/5 multiplied by 10. I already took care of the sign, so I'm not going to worry about it. So this one you can do 2 ways. 4 times 10 divided by 5, or simplify before you multiply, however you want it. So if you do 4 times 10, it's 40, right? At the bottom you get 5, so it's 40 divided by 5, or just negative 8w. Next one, 4/5 times, let me take care of the sign. It's a positive times a negative, so it's going to be negative, and 4/5 times 20. So you can simplify before you multiply, or you just multiply, or you get 4 times 20 divided by 5, or you can cross out like this. 5 divided by 5 is 1, 20 divided by 5 is 4, and you get 4, which is 16r. Minus, not minus, yes, minus because it's a positive and a negative, so it's going to be negative. So 4/5 over 5, so this one I think you're probably better doing this, right? And you're left with just 4, and you get 4y. And let's copy the rest, minus 20w plus 5r. Let's rearrange a couple of things because we can definitely combine like terms. This guy is going to combine with, sorry, not like that, negative minus 16r plus 5r. These two are going to be next to each other. And then the w's are going to be next to each other, so minus 8w minus 20w, and I'm going to put the minus 4y all the way at the back. So these two first, it's negative 16 plus 5. If you ignore the variables for a second, it's going to be something r. Negative 16 plus 5, there's more negative, negative 11. Negative 8 minus 20, it's the same thing as negative 8 plus negative 20, or just negative 28w. And minus 4y at the end. So that's my expression here. So it's this one, think of it as divided by 5 and then times 3, or 3 times 20 divided by 5, either way. So you get 3/5 times 20, right? This is what you're doing first. Positive times a negative is going to be negative, negative something k. So 3 times 20 is 60, divided by 5 is 12. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. Positive times a negative again is a negative, and let's go. The second one is 3/5 times 10. 3 times 10 is 30. And then I'm going to divide that by 5. I get 6a. And the last case is 3/5, right? We just did this, and we're doing this now. And 3/5 times 5. This one, 3 times 5 is 15. Divided by 5 is 3. Or you can just cross these two out, and you're left with 3. Either way, it's fine. And it's positive. And there's nothing you can combine. This one is just 1/8, so it's literally you're dividing every single term inside, you're dividing by 8. So 24w divided by 8 is 3w. Minus 16 divided by 8 is 2. Okay. Minus again, and 8 divided by 8 is 1a, or just a. And then minus 12 minus 5k. Combine any like terms. No, well, yeah, we do. So it's going to be 3w, and so that's one, and then it's going to be minus 2k and minus 5k. And let me do that here. Minus 2k minus 5k. It's going to be minus something, right? So that becomes negative 2 minus 5, or negative 2 plus negative 5, which is going to give me negative 7. So this minus 2k minus 5k is going to give me negative 7k, which I'll do right here. And then I'll copy minus a and minus 12, and those two terms cannot combine with anyone. So next, again here, it's because it's 1/5, I don't have to multiply by anything. I can just divide everything by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2k, minus 20 divided by 5 is 4p, And 5 divided by 5 is 1, nothing to combine. This one, 1/4, I'm going to divide everything inside the parentheses by 4. Positive times a negative is a negative. 8 times 4 is 2, divided by 2. 8 times 4 is divided, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Next one's a negative again, because positive times a negative is a negative. 16 divided by 4 is 4w. Positive and a positive is going to be positive, and 40 divided by 4 is 10. Nothing to combine as well. Here, everything gets divided by 3, right? Because we're multiplying by 1/3. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 24 divided by 3 is 8k. Negative and a negative is a positive. 12 divided by 3 is 4m. Negative and a negative is going to be a positive, and 9 divided by this 3 in the denominator is going to be 3 minus 2k. I can combine this guy here with this guy here. Those are the only two terms, so let me put them side by side. Negative, so it goes from here to here. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10k plus 4m plus 3. Now here, right, I'm going to be multiplying negative 2 over 9 times 18, but after I divide by 9, I have to multiply by 2. So 18 divided by 9, so let's take a look at this way. Right? I'm going to take this 18 divided by 9 and then multiply by 2. I think that's a nice, quick way of doing it. So 18 divided by 9 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So that would be negative times negative positive, first of all, and that would be 4k. Okay. Now, if you like to do it this way, 2 times 8 is 36, right? By multiplying this, right? 9 times 1 is 9, and 36 divided by 9 is 4. So either way is fine. Negative and a negative, it will give me a positive, and then I'm doing 2 over 9 times 27. If I divide 27 divided by 9, I get 3. And 3 times 2 is 6. M plus 3 minus 2k. I can combine this guy with this guy. 4k minus 2k plus 6m plus 3. 4k minus 2k is 2k plus 6m plus 3, because those two terms don't have anybody else to combine. This one is 1/7. You notice that if your numerator is 1, you're just dividing. You don't have to multiply. So this one, as opposed to this one where it's going to be divided by 4, but then you have to multiply by 3. That's how you're doing it. Okay, so positive and negative is negative. 14 divided by 7 is just 2w. Positive and negative is a negative. 35 divided by 7 is 5m. Minus 11w. There's definitely something to combine. It would be this guy and this guy minus 5m. So we're going to take care of this part right here. Negative 2 minus 11 is negative 13w minus 5m. So here is, again, let me show you how that looks this way. So it's 3/4 times 8, right? So it's a positive times a negative, so it's going to be negative. And let's multiply in something h. So 3 times 8 is 24. And if I divide that by 4, because 4 times 1 is 4, I get 24 over 4, and 24 over 4 is 6. That's fine, right? Or if you wanted to, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Multiply by 3, either way you get 6. It's going to be the same thing here, 6m minus 2h. We can combine the h's. 6h minus 2h minus 2m. Combine the terms that start here and goes all the way to before that minus sign. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8h minus 2m. So half, right, multiplying by half is the same thing as dividing by 2. So I'm going to divide 4 by 2, 6 by 2, and 2 by 2. Negative times a positive is a negative. 4 divided by 2 is 2w. Negative and a negative is going to be a positive, and 6 divided by 2 is 3, or 3m. Negative divided by a negative is going to be positive, and 2 divided by 2 is just 1. Nothing to combine. Very nice. In this case here, I'm dividing everybody by 8, so positive and negative is negative. 8 divided by 8 is 1, or just 1w, or just w. Positive and a negative is going to be a negative. 24 divided by 8 is 3, 3r. Again, it's going to be negative. 56 divided by 8 is 7y, minus 2w, minus 10r. So there's a couple of terms here that I can combine. So it's going to be this guy, and this guy, no, and this guy. And this fellow with this fellow. Minus y, minus 2w, sorry, minus w, minus 3r, minus 10r, minus 7y. If you like and you feel more comfortable when you're subtracting, you put a 1 over here, so this becomes negative 1 minus 2, or negative 1 plus negative 2, and you get negative 3w. Next one, you get this, negative 3 minus negative 10, and it's going to give you negative 13r minus 7y. So here, I can divide everything by 3 and then multiply it by 2. Okay, so we get 2/3 and then 21k, right, or just 21. So it's a positive and a negative gives you a negative. So if I divide 21 by 3, I get 7, right? This would be 7. And 7 times 2 gives me 14. Positive and negative is a negative. So again, think about 2/3 and 12. Divide 12 by 3, I get 4, and 4 times 2 gives me 8a. Plus, and then this one, 2/3 times 7, there's nothing to cancel out. I can't divide 7 by 3, I mean, you're going to get decimal. So for this one, put this over 1, multiply across. 2 times 7 is 14, 3 times 1 is 3, so I'm going to get a decimal over here. I'm sorry, a fraction. And that's completely fine. Which I can now combine with this, no, I forgot the k here. I can combine with no one, so that's my final answer. Last one over here, I can divide everything by 5 and then times 3. Okay, that's one quick way of doing it. So 20, so let's do this. 3/5 times 20, so divide by 5 is going to be 4. 4 times 3 is 12w. A positive times a negative is a negative, so if I have 3/5 times 15, 15 divided by 5 is going to be 3 over here. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. And minus 3/5 times 5, these two go out, and you get left with 3a left over. Minus 9 minus 8k. Anyone I can what do you call, combine? Yeah, the k. So it's minus 9k minus 8k. Let's put those two together. Minus 8k plus 12w minus 3a minus 9. So the only two terms you're going to combine are these. Everything else will stay the same. Negative 8 minus 8 is negative 17k. And then we're going to copy 12 plus 12w minus 3a minus 9. And that's your final expression. So not that difficult at all. Okay, so you just need to be careful with the signs. Okay, and that's it.